Now, I want you to think about your menstrual cycle as a journey through the year where each phase mirrors a different season. Your hormones follow a natural rhythm, just like the changing season. So let's break it down. Starting with menstruation phase or winter. The cycle begins with winter, which is like the start of a new year. Now, I want you to think of your menstrual cycle or your period like the seasons of the year. Think of it as your journey through the year where each phase mirrors a different season. Your hormones follow a natural rhythm, just like the changing seasons. And we're going to break it down into more detail now for you. And this is going to help you to understand how you're feeling each month, each week of the month. So, menstruation, your period, winter. So the cycle begins in the winter, which is like the start of a new year. When your period starts, the progesterone levels drop, triggering the shedding of your uterus lining and the bleed. Your body temperature lowers just as it would in winter. And this happens as the menstrual bleed starts. It's a time to slow down and nurture yourself. Just like in winter, you might feel more inclined to stay home, to rest, and to take care of your body. The phase tends to last about 7 to 10 days, and it's the perfect time to listen to your body and recharge. And your energy is quite often low, just like the colder, darker days of winter. Now, menstrual cycles can last anything from 7 to 10 days, but it can later on in the perimenopause phase maybe just last a couple of days, 3 days, or through to seven. Or you may find that your bleeds last longer, or you may have spotting. So, emotionally, it can be a huge release for many women as the bloating vanishes, as the tension leaves your body. Or it may be disappointing for those women who are trying to conceive. Now, pain for some can increase at the beginning of the period cycle, but it tends to ease off. There is plenty of things you can do to ease the pain. And this is why it's so important to understand the seasons, because if you manage your hormones throughout the season or throughout the month, the symptoms will become less. As I said, energy is often at its lowest. Think of how you feel yourself during the winter months. Often you lack motivation, your mind can feel foggy, and boundaries can drop, making you feel more vulnerable. Some people do feel a little bit more relaxed as the pain relieving hormone oxytocin and some of the endorphins kick in. Now we want to look at the follicular phase, spring. So after menstruation, after your period, we move into spring, just as we would in the seasons of the year. And this is where everything starts to grow again. This is when your follicular stimulating hormone, FSH, which we showed previously in the earlier slides, the FSH gets to work. It helps your eggs in the ovaries to mature. We're now talking about pre-menopause or fertile women. Estrogen and testosterone begin to rise, giving you more energy, confidence, and motivation, just like the first flowers blooming in spring. You might feel more extroverted and social with a natural boost in your mood and your brain power. You may feel like taking on new projects or being a bit more impulsive. It's a time to enjoy the fresh energy of the cycle, feeling lighter, more energized, just like the lengthening days of spring. So as I said, estrogen and testosterone, they do begin to rise. They start off low at the beginning and increasing as we get closer to ovulation time. And these are the hormones that boost your energy, your mood, and your brain. So it's very similar to having that spring feeling. You may feel lighter in your body, more energetic. You tend to eat healthier. And as the testosterone starts to increase, then your libido may pick up for those of you that are still in the fertile phases. And that can make you more impulsive, more confident. Estrogen plumps up your skin, helping you to feel better. And you can feel, as I said, more extroverted, more social. Estrogen does suppress your appetite, so you may feel that you're eating lighter foods, similar to how you would in spring or summer, or you may just feel that you're eating better in general. Now, thinking about summer, we are moving on to the ovulation phase, clearly talking about pre-menopause here, or the early stages of perimenopause. Summer is the shortest phase, lasting just 2 to 3 days, but it's packed full with energy. Just before ovulation, there's a surge in your luteinizing hormone, the LH, causing the egg to be released from the follicle. Now, this phase is often marked by a characteristic of clear egg white consistency in your cervical mucus. Your body is preparing for pregnancy. And that's something you may notice. For those of you in perimenopause, you may notice that you don't have any symptoms of ovulation, and then 1 month maybe you do. And that's because in perimenopause, you may not ovulate every single month. You may feel a natural peak in your energy, just like the height of summer. Estrogen and progesterone are high, making you feel more energized, more confident. And it's often a time that you feel your best. And you may find your libido spikes as well due to the rise in the testosterone. And this is a time to shine. Think of it as a summer of self-confidence. So you'll see on the slides here, some women may experience ovulation pain, and that tends to be either the left or the right ovary. Sometimes it can alternate. Now we're moving into the luteal phase, and this is known as autumn. Now we break this into 2 phases. It's quite a long period. So as the energy of summer ovulation begins to fade, we're entering autumn, which is the longest phase of the cycle and can often, sadly, be the most challenging for some women. After ovulation, your follicular stimulating hormone, FSH, and luteinizing hormone, LH, levels drop off, and progesterone begins to rise. Now, progesterone's role is to prepare your uterus for a potential pregnancy, and it can cause a slight rise in your body temperature. Now, during the first half of this phase, you might feel that you're still feeling the effects of summer. So think about how you feel in September, with your moods relatively high still. However, as progesterone increases, so now think about this as you're heading towards October or Halloween, as progesterone increases, you'll start to feel like winding down. Just like the leaves begin to fall in October, your energy will start to dip, and you may feel more introspective, introverted, want to stay at home more. This is your time to start nesting, to organize and prepare for the next phase. Progesterone also has a calming effect. Progesterone is a very calming hormone. It also has sleep-inducing properties. So think of it as your natural Valium. And this is why, as we enter perimenopause and the progesterone starts to drop off, often quite rapidly, we can feel quite anxious, quite overwhelmed, and struggle with the sleep. So the luteal phase, the autumn, think of it as your October. It's a good time for self-care, getting your home organized, preparing for those colder winter months. Now, this can be really useful to think about as you are entering the perimenopause, especially the late stages. It really is a time where our progesterone's low, our estrogen's low. We need to start nurturing our bodies a little bit better. So as I said, the luteal phase is the longest phase. It lasts 12 to 16 days. And it's when estrogen and testosterone decline and your progesterone kicks in. And then that final stage, it tends to be, thinking about October, thinking about Halloween, when your moods can change as the progesterone's changing. And progesterone is that naturally calming hormone. So once that starts to drop off towards the menstruation phase or winter, that PMS can kick in, anxiety can kick in, and you might find that you're craving more carby foods. Now, if you want to know more about your period cycle, which can be really beneficial even for women in perimenopause, and how to balance your hormones naturally, it can help to put in certain types of food, certain herbs, certain supplements, then we do have a guide available for you. You will find it in the platform. Okay, and it's really important. I do recommend to start tracking your cycle. I mentioned it before, but to make the most of your cycle and to align with those seasons of your body, if you track your period cycle using a tracking app or your calendar, you can pay attention to how you feel emotionally and physically during each phase. And tracking your cycle can help you to understand those hormonal fluctuations. It can be great to know this as you enter the perimenopause. It's a great way to plan for rest and activity based on the different seasons of your body. And by understanding how hormones change throughout your cycle, you can embrace the flow of that natural rhythm and feel more connected to your body's needs, just like the seasons of the year. So once you understand this information, it can help you to know, for those of you working, when to rest. For those of you that are looking to date or go out with your partner, it can be really useful to know at what time of the month to do this and when you should be resting, how you should be nourishing or eating during each phase. So just find out or ask us in the community where you can find this information.